Was the assembly in Ottawa illegal before the invocation of the Emergencies Act? You're muted.
Thank you very much for the question. So as I indicated in my previous answer, there were indeed laws on the book. The question became whether they were effective in dealing with the situation as it evolved and to the point that it got to when the declaration was issued.
Was the protest in Ottawa illegal before the Emergencies Act was invoked?
I wasn't on the ground and wasn't aware of any charges being issued at that point in time.
So you would say it wasn't illegal until when the Emergencies Act came in place, then it became illegal, correct?
No, sir, that's not what I said. I said
Okay.
I wasn't aware of any charges being issued. Whether or not the activities were illegal, it was determined that it was not a peaceful protest and had gone beyond what we would normally consider to be a lawful assembly.
So the Justice Department didn't know before the 15th of February whether this was an illegal or legal protest?
So I wouldn't be at liberty to disclose the legal advice that was provided to the government in the context of the unfolding situation. There were laws on the book. It was understood that the activities that were taking place went beyond what would be considered lawful assembly, but I wouldn't be able to go beyond that.
Before the invocation of the Emergencies Act on Monday, what would be the process to seize the bank accounts of Canadians?
I think one of your colleagues alluded to it. It would be a court process by which that would happen. And again, the sense would be whether the laws were available, whether they would be effective to address the situation that has arose is the determination that was made.
And why do we need courts to determine whether or not bank accounts can be frozen by the government?
Because we have to be charter compliant, and that is one mechanism by which we ensure that compliance.
So that's Section 8 of the Charter, correct? Unreasonable search and seizure?
Amongst others, yes.
So what you're saying is the Emergencies Act was necessary in order to suspend charter rights under Section 8 against unreasonable search and seizure.
So I appreciate that, and you are correct. The Emergencies Act does explicitly make reference to compliance with the Charter, and while we do benefit in Canada from very important Charter protections, none of them are absolute and are indeed subject to reasonable limitations.
But before the invocation of the Emergencies Act, you're saying you couldn't have seized people's bank accounts without a court order. But the Emergencies Act allowed the government to suspend that provision of the Charter, suspend charter rights in order to seize people's bank accounts.
So the measures that were put in place were targeted measures to address the situation that had been evolving and led to the declaration. And while there are charter protections, reasonable limits can be put on those rights in order to effectively deal with a situation.
And would that also carry over to Section 2C, which is the right for peaceful assembly? If we know whether this was an illegal protest or not, you haven't said clearly either way. But I mean, was the Emergencies Act necessary to suspend Section 2C of the Charter to allow law enforcement to break up a protest?
So we do know that the matters are before the court. There is a number of litigation that has been launched. The assessment was that what had been taking place was no longer a peaceful assembly, and there were specific criteria, very targeted criteria set out to identify what activities would indeed be captured by the emergency measures regulation that was put in place, specifically the serious disruption of the movement of persons or good or the serious interference with trade.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.